Welcome to the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, where we talk all things Freemasons while drinking an old fashioned. I'm Brian.
And I'm Russ.
Russ, who is this young soul in between us that makes us look way older than we really are?
I tell you, there was just this guy wandering around out and about from western Kansas, and we just pulled him in and said, hey, would you like to be on a podcast?
So who in the world is
he? And he happened to be a brother. So we have Derik Hockett here today.
Derik, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Derik, which we'll talk about later, lives damn near in California. He lives so far west. And he happened to be in town, so we said, you know what? You're in our top 100 of conversations, so we want to get you on. So have you seen an episode of the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast?
I absolutely have, yeah.
Okay.
I watched a little bit of the one with Doc Resner, so.
Oh, with Rensner, perfect. So, what you'll know about the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast, we like to know as much about the man as we do the Mason. You know, everyone knows where we're at, where we're Masons, but we want to know as much about the man. So, that said, who is Derik Hockett?
So, Kansas native, born and raised. Born in Ulysses, Kansas, 1979.
Date of birth, social security number?
Yeah, right? Went to a little 1A high school, grade school in Satanta, Kansas.
Okay.
I think I had like 22 or 23 kids in my graduating class, so small group. 2 years of college at Dodge City.
Yeah.
2 years at Pittsburgh State University.
Oh, you went the other side of the state.
Clear.
Wow.
Yeah, just almost as far as you can get away from Southwest Kansas.
Right,
But,
you're almost in New York.
Yeah. I got out of college, spent a couple years living in the Newton and Heston area, worked for AGCO.
Okay. Did you know this?
No, I didn't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, got, and that was my first exposure with Freemasonry. I
Okay.
didn't really know it at the time.
Well, don't tease anybody about the Freemason. We're going to come back. You're going to take a question away from Russ.
Come back to that. So, my older brother, he'd been working in the oil and gas industry for several years. Talked me into moving home. So in 2006, after I'd been my wife and I, Tricia, we got married in 2005.
Okay.
Talked her into moving to Western Kansas.
Did you meet her?
Yeah.
I met Tricia in Newton.
Okay.
I lived in a duplex, and my neighbors were friends with her, and kind of not really a blind date, but just kind of.
Well, she's much younger than you, but she was at least 18.
She's actually 1 month older than I am. So
Listen.
we joke.
Would you, Tricia? I was trying to stick up for you. He didn't. He just totally slammed you.
Yeah,
She
quite
jokes.
frankly.
We joke all the time, and she likes to joke that I married the older woman.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I have that same thing in my house, but we just don't go that way. We're 6 months apart.
Right.
3.5 dog years. A whole nother conversation. So.
And so anyway, moved back to Western Kansas 2006. Went to work in the oil and gas industry.
Okay.
And that's what I'm still doing today. Different company, but still doing natural gas compression. And got two sons, Jalynn and Deacon. Deacon just had his 13th birthday
All right.
a couple of days ago.
Okay.
And we've got
The math works out for anybody those just following along.
Yeah, right. And I've got a little rescue dog named Ruby. We picked her up from the pound.
Okay.
Didn't grow up with a dog in the house, but Ruby's special. She's got her own chair, and she's a real member of the family, which is definitely a change from how I grew up.
Our dogs were outside dogs growing up. We didn't have, but
No, we didn't have
our kids have only known inside dogs. We don't have dogs now.
Yeah, interesting. I never would have dreamed that I would have let a mongrel in
Be
the
careful,
house.
the pecking order may change.
Right?
That is true.
Yeah,
That is true.
But yeah, and we live. I bought some acreage from my mom and dad, and I live on the farm where I grew up.
Okay, awesome.
Nice.
So now that we know just a little bit about the man, let's talk about your journey in Freemasonry. So start from the beginning and sort of walk us through till today, till tonight.
So the very beginning that I didn't fully grasp or understand at the time. My supervisor, when I worked in the training group for AGCO there in Heston, Scottish Rite Mason, never really had many discussions about his Masonic path and any of that kind of stuff. But that was one thing he was very proud of. He was proud to be a Shriner. He was proud to be a Scottish Rite Mason. Fast forward a couple years, move home, and Tricia and I, we got married a little bit later in life, had kids a little bit later. So I was in a kind of a unique window demographically. A lot of people my age already had kids. A little bit further along with their families. A lot of the other guys I worked with were older guys,
Like Russ's age, yeah.
Like Russ's age.
It's too late for that.
So, kind of, I get home, kind of in a unique spot, and I was looking for, just kind of looking for a place to land, looking for a group of people to associate with. I hadn't really found a church that we gelled with, and one of my coworkers got to visiting with him, and he encouraged me to come to the county fair. And so at that point in time, Ulysses Lodge, we had a little concession trailer, and that was the traditional fundraiser for Ulysses Lodge 435, as they would make funnel cakes and potato twisters and sell breakfast burritos at the county fair every year. And Rusty, his name was Rusty Hines. Rusty said, "Well, come on out to the county fair, and come by the trailer, and I'll give you a funnel cake." Cool. Well, my wife's side of the family had a significantly larger Masonic background, kind of familial history. My wife's uncle, Ken Bruns, was actually a Grand Master of Masons in Rhode Island in 2010. Didn't know that at the time.
Wow.
Anyway, got hooked up with Rusty, and I knew about Freemasonry, and Trish was with me, and she had a family history. She was important to her. She's a member of Eastern Star. I'm a member of Eastern Star. Okay. And just so happened that Rusty, my coworker, was a Mason, and I got a petition in my hand, and I found that group of men to kind of...
And what year was this?
This would have been 2007. Okay. So I started back to moved home in July of 2006, went about a year, rolled through into that fair time of 2007, got my petition, started working through the degrees, and then on Valentine's Day, February 14th, 2008, was when I took my third.
Okay, nice. So now you're a Master Mason. Where'd you go next?
Traditional path.
Which is Scottish Rite next?
No, just within the lodge.
Okay.
Just a normal, followed all of the stations. I was really fortunate. At that time, our membership was still robust enough that we had were able to follow the chairs. My mentor was Richard Hafley. Richard Hafley was a grand lecturer. Okay. Not many remember Dick. It's been a lot of years. Most of those brothers have either passed on or I haven't had the opportunity to meet them yet. But
I don't recognize the name.
Yeah. Dick was my mentor, and follow through the chairs. And so one thing that's kind of unique about where we are at that particular time when I was going through the chairs, a lot of the appendant body clubs and groups had fallen by the wayside. So my exposure and experience with the Shrine, York Rite, Scottish Rite was very, very limited. I had a very narrow. It's
kind of an afterthought so far out.
Yeah. And take a survey of the brothers. A lot of different reasons for why that was the way it was.
Yeah, we feel left out because we're out here and everyone wants us to come in, but they never come out to us. I get it. It's all, and they're fair.
Yeah. So really, just very focused on just that Blue Lodge experience. Joined Eastern Star. That was about the time that both boys had been born. And so that was Tricia's night. She would go to Eastern Star, and I would stay home with the kids. Okay. And just within the last 2 years, I've just started to really get into taken part in that Eastern Star experience, and that's something that's going to grow too. The boys are big enough to stay home. Of course, we live in the country. A little leery about just leaving the boys to their own devices at night. But
yeah, especially when there's lots of fields and stuff that you can blow stuff up. Hypothetically,
Yes,
like tannerite.
Yes,
there you go.
Potentially.
So.
So you're a member of the Blue Lodge and the Eastern Star, Scottish Rite, York Rite,
Not York Rite.
Shrine.
So, funny you ask. I asked Chris Collins to get me a petition tonight, and in our hustle to get out of there, I did not follow up with him and get that taken care of. But
I will email the electronic petition to Chris to forward to you.
Very good. So I will be joining the shrine. Yeah.
Like in this class in a couple of weeks.
I guess we'll see.
Right, how the time goes. Okay.
I'd do it in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah, we do it in the fall too.
Yeah.
For lots of reasons. So, who put you on the line when you became So you started at Tyler? Where'd you start?
Started inside the door. Started at senior steward.
Okay, so who put you on the line as senior steward?
I think he was just.
Who was the master?
Really
the
don't
master
remember.
has to appoint?
I don't remember. Honestly, don't remember. That kind of the.
You were just next.
Yeah, we was just next.
Okay.
He was, the pool wasn't that deep, right?
Okay.
And that was kind of one of the things that just didn't, we didn't give much thought or consideration to that. At that point in time, we were beginning to recycle masters.
Oh, okay.
And so it was kind of one of those, out of just necessity, it's like, hey, we got to put you.
What year were you master the first time?
So
17?
First time started in 16, and it was like a half a year. Okay. So the sitting master that year was our local county pharmacist. And there was a young man that had graduated school. And Brother Minzy, who was sitting master and our pharmacist, I'm not sure how that all played out, but it happened very fast. And so Brother Minzy sold his pharmacy and sold his house to this new young guy that had just come out of school.
Okay.
And literally within 4 months,
He just ninja smoke bombed you and he was out.
gone.
All right.
And so I finished his year. I moved from senior warden into the master's chair.
Okay.
And then took over.
So then, and this may not be fair because of the situation in your lodge, but the year that you were master, not the half, but the full year, do you remember who you actually appointed to the line?
Nope. It was all just.
It was just
so foreign for at Pike. It's. When we were going through, there's this waiting list, and at one point to damn near get on the line at Pike. Pike had an organized study club that you move positions once a quarter. If you weren't active in the study club, you probably weren't even sniffing the line because they weren't. It was so orchestrated.
Yeah.
At the Grand Lodge of Pike.
And there was a time when you had better have had, a B card, A card, and you were working on a master's card.
Well, again, back in the day when we were pushing 8,000 members, that's just what you did, because you had that luxury. So
that was the gauntlet to make the cut.
Have you ever got active much in the Scottish Rite or the York Rite?
So I was attracted to the Scottish Rite just because I liked the ritual. And again, that was not something that was really pushed on me.
Right.
It was strictly my own volition of my own curiosity. And we don't have a Scottish Rite club out there. Very loose. Talks about trying to get it started back up. But a lot of that is just kind of on my own time and out of my own curiosity. And then York Rite, haven't been drawn to the York Rite yet.
Yeah, I get it. There's so much time a guy has, especially with younger children.
Yeah.
And are kids active in any sort of sports?
Oh yeah. They're both running track right now. And, yeah.
Okay.
So you have been master of your lodge 7 times?
I believe that's correct.
Okay. So this next question we normally ask, when you're a master, what's one thing that you would say you are most proud of? So you get a wider range of time, 7 years span, but the one thing, as master of your lodge, what are you most proud of?
Oh, that's kind of a toss up.
Okay. Then pick 2. You had 7 years.
So the 2 that really stand out, and the first one, we had a school of instruction out there. It was like one of I believe that was my first year as a district deputy Grand Master. And it's just easy for me to say, okay, Ulysses Lodge is hosting. We're pretty centrally located. And
To who?
yeah, right? Our district.
Yeah.
And so we decided to do a combined school. So we had, I don't remember if it was 38 and 39 or A and B. Anyway, we had a really nice, big, combined school of instruction. Well attended, 40 some odd Masons in attendance.
That's pretty good.
So we did worked really hard, getting out notices and making phone calls, trying to make sure we had plenty of brothers.
So you had some
there.
gratification for the efforts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was, like I talked about my mentor, Dick Hafley. His mind had begun to fail, and he was struggling to get the lodge, and I think they did. They called me a couple of days before. So Grand Lecturer Emeritus Vernon Clark, Bob Jeselnik. Oh gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. There's one more brother that came. I had several brothers that drove out from the Kansas City area to present Dick with like a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Right.
It was really great. Grandmaster Cole Presley was there. I was kind of on my game that day. Everything went well. Food was good. The school was good. It just went really well.
That put you on the radar.
And it was good too, because I hope, I'll never know, but I'd like to think that was one of Dick's last memorable experiences in it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then the other one was just in March we had our 100th anniversary, and kind of put together a program and worked with one of the local ladies groups to one of the churches to do the meal, and Grandmaster Johnson got to come out. We had good attendance from the local lodges. Newspaper was there. Newspaper did a wonderful job taking pictures, and I don't know how much impact it had, but really, we had like 2 full pages on our little local newspaper of really good pictures of me and Mike and our senior warden Robert Annis and all of our guests.
So it got some good pub in that local area of the Masons.
Yeah. Like I said, that's it's an investment. You don't know. You hope that the return on that is good publicity and a little bit of attention.
More than anything, I think people try to measure stuff like that. Well, how many Masons did we get? The other way to look at that is, how many did we keep from leaving? Because that's one more thing that they can say, hey, I'm part of this, and they might pay one more year.
That's great.
I think we look at it from, what I mean? You say, okay, I can't quantify it coming in, but you can, whether they did or not, but you can't quantify if somebody decides, like, all right, I'll write one more year's worth of dues.
That's part of our mission and vision.
Sure it is.
Trying to provide the best Masonic experience we can.
Yeah.
So let's talk about mission and vision and the 2030 plan that we talked about when Most Worshipful Rob McClarty was on. So let me back up first. For those who don't know, Derik, who has not mentioned that in his Masonic journey, we have to pull this out of him because that's one of the things we like about him. Derik is slated to be Grand Master real soon. So to start off, who put you on the line as Grand Senior Deacon?
So that was Most Worshipful Michael Stoops.
Michael Stoops. So I'm a huge fan of Mike. Mike likes to stir the pot and get people,
and then leave the country.
And leave the country. Pull the pin on the grenade and go. But we talk a lot about Mike Stoops. I'm a huge fan of him. I like what he does. He pushes the envelope, I think, to make people, think about things. It's not. Sometimes it's just to incite people coming to a meeting or just a discussion. So I think he didn't need our validation, but we were really excited when we heard your name coming down the pipe as well. Russ. So you gotta be Grand Master.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, as Grand Master, what's one thing that you want to move the needle on? What's something that you're just focusing on to make sure that it happens?
Everything else fails, but I need this one thing to work.
That's a really tough one to answer. Grand Architect willing, couple of elections to make it through, right? So nothing set in stone. Life likes to throw us curveballs. But and one of the reasons why that's so hard to answer, it's in a way it's a blessing, is our strategic plan. Mm-hmm. That undercurrent,
it's a nice roadmap.
Yeah, and everybody on the COA, Council of Administration we own that front to back, right? And we understand the importance of it, the investment that's been put in not only by Grand Lodge, but the craft at large in making that successful and seeing that through to it's never really going to end, but seeing it fulfilled in all the different ways that it should be. When I came on, when Mike asked me to be a part of this, and I stepped on, at that time, the three junior officers of the COA were each responsible for one of those strategic plan lanes, and I got communication. So that's kind of where my that's what I'm drawn to. Mm-hmm. So I guess if you could, one goal that I'd really like to see, and you guys are fulfilling a piece of that with what we're doing right here. Okay. This podcast, this media, to share everything that you guys, all the interviews that you guys have done, share that out to the craft, to let the craft know, put a face to the names and be able to share in those individual Masonic experiences. Maybe it's not face to face, but podcasts are a really strange thing. Joe Rogan and what he's done for the world at large is, right. That's holy cow. That's a whole other bunny trail.
You're not suggesting that Elon Musk be on here and smoke a fatty on the Old Fashion Masonic Podcast. Okay, I didn't think so.
Not at all. But
right.
It would be kind of cool.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
It would.
I think my wife would come downstairs like, what in the world is going on?
So, I guess a real easy goal for me to kind of push home and see for my year in the Grand East is have just the lodges be able to utilize all the tools that Grand Lodge provides to them to communicate. Grand Lodge calendar is kind of a first stop for anything that a lodge is doing. If you've got an event, if you've got a picnic, if you've got a 100th anniversary, if you're doing something special, kind of like what Rob did tonight, and that was on the Grand Lodge calendar. Thank God it was, because I forgot to put it on my calendar, but luckily I live and die by my calendars.
Well, what we talk about that a lot. We'll look at it, all the colors. It has a meaning.
Yeah, and I'd be lost without it. That's just.
Do you do a family calendar at home?
Not electronically, but we do got one on the refrigerator.
All right. Isn't that? Where's Dad tonight? Where's Mom? Right? Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah, just to get folks programmed.
Well, and it's important for my boys to see that too, to give them that structure and see, because there's things that I miss, right?
Sure.
I've got commitments.
It wasn't on the calendar, or Dad, it was on the calendar.
Yeah, Freemasonry is important to me, and I don't like dropping Masonic events on my sons or my wife without them not knowing.
Exactly. Because we're told that when we first come in, not to do that. Yeah. In no uncertain terms.
Yeah.
Right.
That's kind of my personal commitment to the long term. Those boys are my 30-year investment in Freemasonry.
Yeah.
If they so choose to. Yeah.
Sure. But you want them to have that option, so we have to be really good stewards of the craft.
Yeah. It's in the interrogatory as a favorable opinion, right?
Yeah. Right? So they are your legacy, whatever that means.
Right. I feel like that should be the very least that I do for craft masonry in Kansas. So, my years as Grand Master, totally supporting all the strategic plan lanes. But if I can help just one lodge improve the way they communicate with their own lodge members, with their community, back to Grand Lodge, the craft at large, that would be a win for me.
So, why don't you think men are joining Freemasonry today?
So, Brian, you had shared a little post. Maybe, I don't know. It was on your guys' Facebook page.
Somebody smarter than us knows how to get that on.
So, And it was an excerpt from a post that was from
Of a Texas Freemason?
Texas Freemason.
Yeah.
A lot of truth to that. The one thing that I see, it's a ton of things, right? It's not just one particular thing. And the one that really troubles me the most, and the one that I try personally to guard against or fight against, is just this it's a society thing. It's a little bit of like lack of ownership. We as sovereign citizens, we hand over all of these responsibilities that we should be maintaining. We have a ton of rights given to us by our Constitution, and we like to crow and tout and talk about all those things, but over time, I think all great societies, for whatever reason, there's tons of historical lessons long before the creation of the United States of America that show us how societies decline and degrade. Mm-hmm. And I think one of those is not owning the responsibilities that come with the rights that you're given, those God-given rights. And we see it in
you
our
mean
laws.
just taking them for granted too?
Just hands off the wheel. Not my problem. Oh, the lodge is going to be just fine. I know the master this year. They're fine. They don't need me there.
Yeah.
And there's lots of different ways that you can look at that.
Yeah.
Right. There's a lot of reasons that prevent brothers from going back to lodge.
Yeah. There's a little funny that I've seen out on Facebook recently about these two old men standing in front of their lodge, and the doors are all boarded shut, windows are boarded shut, and it basically says, "Don't wait too long to go back." And I think a lot of times, well, somebody else has got it, so we don't need to go back.
Yeah.
And we don't need to go.
So I'm about to show my age.
Yeah.
On the internet, they have the pictures with that, and there's a word. What is that called? What do you call that? Is it a meme or is it a meme?
I don't know.
I've heard both.
I've heard both, but I call them memes.
Okay, I call them meme too. Okay, so
that's what I call it.
Us old guys, we're going to call them memes. So I've seen that meme, but man, they're telling, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Are memes kind of like the new comic books? Like
Yeah,
this is
basically.
Short?
Yeah, I think so.
It's like a Far Side. You remember Far Side? You remember the Far Side calendars?
Yeah.
Are they kind of
or the little political satire cartoons in the paper?
I've even wondered if memes are kind of like modern hieroglyphics.
That's a stretch for me, but I like it.
Yeah.
All right, so
you have a lot of time to drive out there.
You do.
Yeah, we do a lot of window times. And your mind will go to some pretty dark places sometimes.
All right, so to fast forward, you're going into your year as Grand Master, okay? And you make that phone call. Who's your Grand Senior Deacon?
Oh gosh.
Oh, wow.
That's
Don't you even try to answer that.
Just tell him to behave.
I'll just say that, like so many things in Masonry, we lean on our brothers for help. We lean on our brothers for help. At the end of the day, it's one man's choice, but that choice, at least up until this point, my experience has been that it is not without much counsel.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that was a bit of a joke. So we're now at the most important question of the podcast. Okay, one must go forever. So we were off doing something. We came back. We were hungry. There were no sweets. I'm not a big sweets guy, so this is not. You're a sweets guy. You sweets or salty? What are you?
I would. Oh man, salty. You can't hardly beat a good aged ribeye. I would.
Everyone see what's on the screen? I don't know where you went with that, but stay focused with us.
So
it's a little bit later in the day.
Those are all sweets.
I think we need to feed him.
So on the screen, you've got ice cream. Doesn't matter the flavor. You've got a pie, any flavor you want: pumpkin, blueberry, apple, cherry. You've got cake, as moist as you like or as dry as you like, and you've got brownies, nuts or no nuts. One has to go forever. It was never invented. Exit out. What is it and why?
So, really, that's kind of an easy one for me. My wife loves to cook. She loves to bake.
Okay.
She is I love all of the sweets, all the baked goods that she makes. So I'm going to say the ice cream can go.
Ice cream can go. See, I don't like ice cream,
What?
so that doesn't bother me.
Is that sacrilegious for us?
Well, he's in the
I did-
dairy.
yeah,
It's like
so-
anti-dairy. Because you'd say the brownies, right? Have we done this before? What do you say?
Yeah, and I
don't
don't.
change.
I think brownies would have to go, but
So
I like them all. So
Tricia's probably squirming right now.
What
because
would-
she
what
loves
would
ice
she
cream.
get rid of?
Deacon.
What would she get rid of, though?
Tricia's not big on fruit, so I'm gonna say Tricia would probably say go with the pies.
What if it's rhubarb? Is rhubarb a fruit or?
It's got fruity tasting, so
Okay, so that's fair. Yeah, I don't like ice cream. Ice cream would go for me, Russ. Brownies would go for you. Ice cream would go for you.
Mm-hmm.
And Trish, if you were here, you'd get rid of that delicious fruit taste.
because cake, you could make some cakes that almost taste like brownies.
Cake would be my number 2 to go because I don't like cake. I don't like cake or ice cream.
yeah,
So-
if the frosting's not right, you can ruin a cake really fast.
Yeah.
Listen, I like frosting. Don't get me wrong. That's a totally different thing. So that's all we have.
All right,
Derek, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming on the Old Fashioned Masonic
Absolutely.
Podcast. Cheers.
appreciate it.
Cheers.